Oh my gosh, that was so funny.
So funny.
Okay, so we'll start this meeting at 5:36. Roll call. Kanu, I haven't heard from in a very long time, so I need to touch base with her and see if she's still interested in being on this committee, and being involved. So we'll say we have a full
She's a young
group.
mama. She's got a lot
Yeah,
on her
that's
She's
plate.
got a
true.
lot on her plate. Yeah.
Newborns are not as flexible as toddlers.
Do we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
All right, we'll do that by acclamation. So last time we talked about views articles and community outreach. I'll be straight up honest with you guys. I've got like a 14-hour workday today, so I'm just going to hand it off to whoever wants to talk about some of the items. I would like to get some ideas around for some more views thing. I think the kids' views was, I think people are going to be really into that. I heard that there were good things said on social media about it, so that was awesome job there. We can promote that more. And yeah, I just wanted to say that was super nice, and I'm glad that's happening. So, whatever you guys want to talk about now, that would be great. Sandy?
So I'm going to grab the screen just for a second. While in the background, while we talk about it, I will track it
Awesome.
on this. So this is just, I don't quite know all the communication avenues. I think there's eBlast that I don't understand. There's Town Square, and there were a couple announcements came out this week. I know there's a Sudden Valley Facebook and the views, but I don't know the other ways to get messages out.
Okay, can I just touch on the eBlast real quick?
Mhm.
Can I butt in front of you, Colleen? Is that okay? Okay, so eBlast, I ended up doing the last one based on some content I received from staff. So right now, staff's planning on having information by the end of the week, so eBlast can go out at the beginning of the week. They're still in the process of moving that over. It's some learning has to happen there. I heard some people say that they just got an eBlast for the first time, but there's been multiple ones done this year, so I'm not sure what that was all about. But we'll try to make sure that these are getting out more frequently. There's going to be some standards introduced so that people are providing content. People, meaning staff, are providing content that's useful and that's appropriate and formatted correctly. I might ask you guys for some help on setting up some of those standards. It's something I wanted to do a long time ago, but it would be nice to get that implemented soon. And that would be like, does the event have the dates? Does it, what's the time? Do we have enough copy? And sometimes I'll get some stuff and it's just like a smorgasbord of ideas or content, but we need to have this stuff where it's like, and whoever's going to be doing the eBlast, whoever just wrote, well organized, but where it's like ready to be copied and pasted in there, so that the work is not put on whoever is actually putting the eBlast together. They're just going to be the facilitator. Town Square, that was something implemented a couple of years ago by our previous general manager and the communications committee. I don't think it did exactly what they were wanting it to do, which, I mean, I think if it was used correctly, and I'm not saying anyone didn't use it correctly, I just think it didn't tie into like our systems appropriately. That would be a good thing to have, but for the time being, that was actually just like kind of a little misstep on someone's part of putting that together. But it looks like you might be working on that, Sandy. So That's all I know about Town Square. I know that alarmed people when they saw that.
So
Um,
it links with the financial. And so that it links when you join and you put in your address, it links you to the lot so that if I, Sandy Mitchell, have access and create an issue, it links to my lot for the reporting and things. But nobody's tested it before.
right.
The prime reason they kept it was because it links with that whole financial, did you pay the dues based on the lot you own?
Yeah,
So-
that's what it seemed like. It was going to be awesome because they were going to have a way to pay your dues. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, you know that you can do it through that app. So I'm not sure exactly what all was going on with that. But it seemed, yeah, I just don't know if it was ever really pushed.
no, I've asked if there's this test environment and I have a demo. I'm just trying to gather enough information to present here to see if, you know, a beta group want to get on, and because Aja has tried sending out 2 or 3 messages this week and they've all worked fine.
Okay.
But
Well, I mean, yeah, if you want to still, I mean, if you want to see the pros and cons of that, I'm all ears for sure.
yeah, so I just got it end of last week, so I will see how it goes and then, you know, email everybody before the next meeting about how it's going. It already exists, it's paid for. It's just what can we do with it? And then we can learn what it doesn't do well. And then you could do data requirements. I think you can link from any website, put the link to Town Square. So you could still design the website as you want, but then it would just put you into the other application.
Right.
Trang saying that it just, so as you're testing it, that there was a fee involved in paying your dues from that platform. I think that's what was in the chat.
I think it's probably true. It's like if I pay my taxes, there's a $4 charge or something.
Yeah, which is why a lot of people ended up not using it, because I originally signed up because I thought I could do that. And then when I try to pay a dues, they charge you a credit card service charge or a banking service charge.
Yeah,
Like
I
tax
think
usually
it's-
it's free if you connect it to your checking account, like,
Mhm.
you know, but
I
so,
thought there was also some sort of charge for sending out messages too.
yeah. So
Might be-
that's why-
Yeah, like when you sent, when SB sent out the messages, there was some charge involved as well. I
Yeah,
could,
that's
I
be-
thought the charge was e-blast.
no, I think eBlast is just a
just an
a
email.
text. It's just a mass text essentially, right?
The
Yeah,
only
it's-
thing that I know that there was
Or
charges
email,
for
I'm
was
sorry.
the emergency text, which, you know, I don't know what, I mean, I know there's some
Oh, it's
people
a
don't
different
like that,
system,
some
right,
people
Josh?
do, but you know, I'm not here at 3 a.m. to send out emergency texts, but I think that's the one. I don't know if Town Square in MailChimp, I think we pay for, MailChimp's our email program. I think we pay a yearly thing for a certain amount of subscriber base abilities. You know, I think we've got over 2,000 people on the eBlast right now. I mean, the odds of all those people still living here are very slim. I'm sure probably like 30 or 40%, if that high, probably still live here. But our opens rates, I'll have to share that. I'll make a report on the emails. Our open rates have increased a lot over the past year or two. Sorry, now I'm getting in the weeds. You guys got me talking, but I'll share a report next week so you can see or whenever we meet again, so you can see like what kind of numbers we do get on the emails and like what people look at and what they open and stuff. It's actually pretty interesting.
So that emergency texting, that's not part of Town Square. That was a separate, I thought was a,
Yeah, that's a
Separate.
completely separate
Yeah,
thing.
it's
I'm just
separate.
I was just seeing if that was what Liz was thinking, because I do know that there's a charge for that. I think Town Square was a once and done payment, but I can look into that. you know, if Sandy's looking into it and seeing if it's something that's, you know, would legitimately help us with Rich, I mean, that's cool with me.
But just for your benefit, Sandy, I would probably add that in there if you want to talk to Rich about it. I would call it text, emergency text.
Emergency
far
SMS, yep.
Yeah, as far as that is another form that we used just briefly, like Times Square was, but it was not listed on there. So maybe, yeah, emergency text, SMS. Yeah, perfect.
I mean, I mean, this is my opinion. I don't think our committee needs to get involved with that portion. I think that's an operations type of thing, the emergency text.
Right.
We might be able to help with determining the best uses of that. But you
Which I
know,
think that's like
John knows a
maybe-
lot about that. So,
Right.
you know,
Which is
I
what
would
I was
save that for another
saying.
time.
Sorry,
But
Josh.
I
it's
think
just
that this
her
chart can
charts.
clarify like who does what. And I think
Yeah.
that that is a big question in the community is like, so who's in charge of doing e-blasts and who does emergency text messaging? So even though that might be beyond the scope of the committee, it's important to have that on here and laid out like, okay, so that is staff. That is a Rich thing. That's a GM thing. Like we can lay that out even though it's beyond our,
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
fine.
what we do.
Whatever helps.
Okay, I'll give up the screen. Thank you.
You can have the screen all you want
It's okay.
now that you're vegan and all, you know.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I was enjoying the screen.
I was going to go to the agenda item of the views and just say that I do have another, it's more of like a human interest piece. I already have it ready to go, submit, I have pictures. Like, I think that content in terms of like, I'm just saying human interest, like things that are interesting, that are positive, that are not political, that are, you know, someone in the Valley that, you know, like Trang had brought up. But anyway, I have an article ready to go. And I wanted to ask, like, what are the submission, just because I think, again, people, if anyone's watching, what's the best way to submit articles to where, what are the deadlines?
Well, we can see if I don't know if that's all on the site. You know, we have Bill is who it goes to, Bill at Linden Tribune. I did receive your email, Colleen. Sorry, I didn't get to respond yet, but you know, if you want to submit that yourself, that's cool. If you want to look at it as a group and, you know, if you want to make it like, hey, this is official Sun Valley, it might be good to get everyone's input on that. And then we put that out as, I mean, I would like to put out articles as from the communications committee. You know, it solidifies our committee and our worth. And I think that's really good to have. So, you know, I'm not copywriting expert or anything like that, but I would love to see what you have. And if you want to share it with the group.
Yeah, I just want to set, I guess I'm trying, just like with the kids' views, just set a premise for like a different genre of content is all.
No, I love that. That's bringing more lifestyle into it. And I think the community really needs that type of thing. Go ahead, Trinh.
So this message or this question is more for you, Colleen. I think what we should do as part of our communication committee so that the editor of the View doesn't get all these emails constantly is that they should send it to us or to the BOD chair first to see, then we can review it and not like editing or anything like that, but just so then we can then submit it to the editor as far as that way it's because that's part of our job is to help members communicate whatever it is they want to communicate. So I would think like anytime anyone has a question about communication or whatever, I always say, please send your request to Josh, you know, be our chair, or Sandy. I added you on there as the chair now, so that we have a centralized, and then all of us as members of this committee can review it and like, you know, send it off their way or whatever. I think that is a little bit better than every member sending their article, so to speak, to the View editor. I don't know
I think that's
Eh.
fine, but you have to be really careful because that's going to seem like this group is like the censorship group, right? That we're filtering, and especially if we're getting opinion pieces, like that's kind of like
But we're not getting opinion pieces. I thought it was more like human interest pieces.
no,
Like, opinion pieces
sure.
are those letters to the editor, which we don't get, which is totally fine. But if you're have an idea or a suggestion for an article wise, I don't see why you could not go to the communication committee.
Oh,
Or
we're
you gotta-
directing them to us, like for the kids' views and for the
Yeah, that's what I mean.
yeah.
So
Why would
just
that
direct
be
it to
any-
us.
Yeah, why would that be any different than the kids
Okay.
view article? You know what I mean? It just seems easier, not to say controlling wise, but it's just easier to bring it to the people who are asking for the article. And then, we submit it to the view, and then because then Josh knows the deadline, and then, and the timeline of when we need to submit it to the editor. It becomes more of a process or
Sure.
this is how you do
So
it.
do you want to come up with a copy for the request
know,
for
you
this
asked me.
genre? Yeah, I mean, it's just a quick thing of like, what are we asking for? Send it to communications, just like we did with the kids' views, short, concise, easy. Like, we just need something to put out to ask for things to come in.
I don't know.
I
don't
might
know
have
exactly-
something for
Yeah, I was gonna
this.
say,
Let
I
me,
don't know even what to even ask to me do a copyright. I mean, it sounds like you have an idea of what it is. I'm just suggesting as far as where they should send the information to. It's more my input to this whole thing, not to the editor of the view, which is what I thought we were kind of veering to, but more toward the chair of the communication board or to the community members. I mean, we don't have an email like list, but John and Sandy can bring it up to our attention and say, hey, there was an interesting article that was submitted. What do you guys think?
Well,
We
does it
just
have to
get-
go to the chair, or can the whole committee look at it? Can we
I
just send it
don't-
to communications,
It's
just
up
like we're
to the-
doing with the
it's
kids'
up to
views?
Josh and Sandy. I mean, I don't have there's
No,
not a
I'm talking to
communication-
the group.
wait,
Yeah.
hold
so,
on,
like,
hold on.
I
Let
mean,
me,
pet of the month used to go
let's
to
put
all
a
of
pin
us,
in this for a
right? I
second.
mean,
So basically, we're going to find some human interest pieces, cultural, art, music, stuff happening, etc. That is, if we're going to direct that from our committee and post it on social, post it on the web, we'll have communications at suddenvalley.com that goes to all of us.
Okay.
So we can have people submit from there. I mean, this is just my opinion, but I think it would be awesome if we can, start directing the views to kind of take on more of a cultural thing, like almost like one of those downtown papers, and not the whole thing, obviously, but in some sections, and really showcase people around the valley in a positive light. And, I asked one member about doing some nature and animal articles and stuff, and they've done that before, and that would be kind of cool. If there's people with certain expertise that we can utilize, and yeah, there's lots we can do with that. I think we can come up with some decent copy, and I'm going to look at some stuff that we did for work, because we recently just did something like this for a client.
Ooh,
And
copyright.
they got so many thousands of people that work for them, and they want to showcase these people. And it's like, send us your hobbies, but it had to be done a certain way, So I'll take a look at that. But I think that's an awesome idea. And having it come to us, make sure that we have make sure it's right for the paper, and make sure that the images are high res enough and all that kind of stuff. We can make sure that's all good before we send it to the Tribune. And I think that's a really awesome idea. And I think the more people see that kind of stuff, then they'll want to get involved, and like, hey, my kid's a pro skater or something like that. I'd like to do something about that, or some kind of veterans thing is doing pickups around the neighborhood for this or that, or like the Habitat for Humanity homes that are built. There's so much that we can report on and share to the community.
Well, I think this could be like a getting to know your neighbors kind of like agenda, right? Like that's
Yeah.
what we're saying is like the whole premise of this is getting to know your neighbors and your neighborhood. And yeah, so whoever's interested in writing that copy, I think that would be a really great way to kind of phrase it.
I think we can tag team that in email. Trang?
So Colleen, how is the kids article going? Are you getting a lot of submissions since? I mean,
So
I
they're
haven't-
coming to communication. So if you haven't seen any,
haven't
then we
seen
haven't
any.
had any, right? We have
Nothing
two right
yet.
That's
now.
right. That's why I was wondering how it is,
Mhm.
if it's coming through communication or if it's going to whoever it's, you know.
So
I
it's
mean,
kind of
the
one of
views
those.
Hasn't come out yet, so, I mean, if people aren't on Facebook
know,
or whatever,
but-
they're not even
Yeah.
gonna know.
Well,
Okay.
it did go into the email. So I think once
Yeah.
people see it in the views, then maybe we'll start getting some hits on that. So
That's how it was
Um,
with Pet of the Month.
Yeah, tickle, yeah.
But the first article or the first view, kids view that we're doing is the one that Liz, that you're working on, right? And Colleen?
We have
Or
two
is that not?
submissions. I
Yeah.
submitted one and Liz submitted one to give
Yeah.
an example of content.
So we
And
will
what
have something
possibility?
in the next.
We already have
view.
two things.
Okay,
Yes.
that's what I
Yeah.
just wanted to know as far as like, what is the reaction to, because I've seen your post, Colleen, about that, and I wanted to keep on sharing, but you did such a good job on that thing that I'll share more on the other websites, our group. But like you say, it's, you know, it's new, and I've got a lot of parents comment, I read them that they're good, but I just was curious. Yes, people are receptive to it, but the result is, what are the people sending you?
So it's just
not
like ads on social media. It takes like somebody has to see something like 3, 4, 5 times in order to engage. So it's that kind of thing, right? Like people need to see this multiple times in multiple places. And that's kind of like, I mean, if you look at the research on advertising, right, it takes a certain amount of views on a topic or whatever, or, you know, a company for someone to engage or respond or, you know, go to their website. So I think it's going to be that kind of thing. We're just kind of driving people to like, we're going to remind everybody, and then, you know, we're going to keep appealing. And then I think once they see examples of like what this can be, maybe some older kids like Trang, it would be great. I don't know. You have middle school kind of kids, like whatever they're into, you know, writing
Oh, you
something
don't want to
short.
know what they're into. Anime
Okay,
is
well-
real right now, and
Well,
it's not of
everybody's in it.
interest to anyone.
There's tons of kids into anime. Like that would be cool. Anyway, I'm just saying like,
No, I understand.
yeah.
Josh,
But
when is the next view? When are Colleen's and Liz's article going to be?
probably in maybe 3 or 4 days, we'll probably get the
So
paper.
they will be in the,
In
is
your-
it May or June? Or I don't know how the paper.
It's going to be the June issue. You
June
should have it in
issue.
your mailbox in the next
So
couple
we
of
should have
days.
a better idea once those go in there, as far as the next process of what we're trying to do, the human interest part. Do you
Yeah,
see
so
what I'm
actually I'm
So-
glad we're talking about this, because the one thing that I would like to do with the kids' views is, as we get the submissions, and including the 2 that we just did, we can put those in the e-blast as well. And, you know, like the drawing and the little story and Zephyr, that's such a cool name. So, you know, we can start promoting those on social and the e-blast. And you got to remember, on the social stuff, only like 20 or 30% people are going to see it on your post. So that's another thing that we need to do, is educate people on making sure that they, you know, if they follow Sudden Valley's Facebook page, that they have it prioritized so that they are seeing the updates to the page. And I have to write this stuff down because I'm going to forget it.
well, if there's any way, I'm going to send it out after the meeting, this human interest sample piece. I think you guys are going to really love it. It's super feel good. It's also about, and I don't want to give it away, but it's also about like an activity that goes on in Sudden Valley regularly, and one of our residents. So it's super positive. It's kind of exciting. It's about
Oh, is
an
it about
activity.
me, Colleen? You're so sweet.
Anyway,
I'm
but yeah. So I think that if everyone could look at their email tonight, I'm going to send it out along with the photo with it. And I would love, love, love for that to get into the next views, because I think because it's like an ongoing activity in the Valley, it would be really helpful to kind of, I don't know, if everyone can give it the okay, I think it would be a great sample piece of what could be. And then we can go from there, but I don't know what you think.
Okay, I'm sure it's awesome.
So Josh, I will do some process flows, the little boxes and arrows, so that you guys can say, if you want to do a submission to Kids Views, here's how you do it. And then the date is the 15th of the month, and then it appears on the 27th of the month, whatever that is standing, because that way you can educate people. That could be another document they could go and see, because that's the only way. When we have the matrix of all the ways, if eBlast costs money, then Town Square is free, then the education has to be to get more people in Town Square, that it's not just for paying your dues, but it has these other functionalities that we're, expanding. Rich is excited about it. Naja, like I said, has been sending more out. I've been able to enter in the demo. I've been able to enter an issue. So I just think that the process flows are important to do. So I'll just, again, send to this group what I can learn. I'm sure they'll be wrong the first couple of times, and then we'll get it down.
I'm sure it'll be great, Sandy. Thank you
Yeah.
for taking that on.
Thank
I'm
you.
curious to see what all it can do. Let's see what else. Is there anything else? I mean, there's a ton of stuff, but you know what I mean, Trang.
So, going back to kind of like the Kids View, or how are we doing with the photo request? Is that still a part of, that's going to be going in the view as well, as far as the copyright? 'Cause
this
I know Anne
month.
worked on the copy,
Um,
the copy of it, right?
Yeah, so not this month. I still need to talk with John about the photo uploads and stuff. So that's on, I'm putting that on my plate. So that's on my to-do list. You guys don't have to worry about that one, but I'll get that set up soon. Because we definitely need to have that going. And I haven't heard anything on the Instagram stuff yet, but that is on my mind before you ask.
Ding, 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 ding is right there.
Yeah.
As if you can just read my mind. I was just checking off my list.
Lots going on. So website, I'm still working on the flow and the wireframes of that. My goal is to, in the next couple of weeks, have some semi-working schematics of that so that you can see how it goes from page to page. Of course, that's not developed. This is just all in prototype. And I'm not trying to sound weird or anything, but even if this recall stuff happens, I'm going to make sure that I get this packaged up and set up for John or whoever else is going to be, whatever happens with that stuff. But my goal is to get that set where we can get that into quoting for development. And I'm pretty excited to, make that happen. There's still a lot of technical things with how it flows with the documents and stuff that need to get figured out. But yes, Trang?
Sorry, I just want to wait. So I just I was writing it down and then I lost my train of thought. So you were talking about the website and all of that. I guess somebody was asking if we have a budget for that. And I don't know if you mentioned that before, and this is with the company that we're going.
Yeah, Leslie McRoberts was asking about that on Facebook, and I just hadn't even responded.
What's the question?
If there's a budget.
There
For
is
the
a budget.
website,
It
what
was
money we're using for this. But
I
we have a
can't
budget, right?
Yeah, it's in the budget for this year.
Yeah,
I can't
it's-
remember what it is.
Yeah, it's an absurd question as far as I'm concerned.
No, it's okay. We all want to know where our money's going, but I think it was like $7,000 or something. It might be a little bit more than that.
That was approved last year's budget, right? It
Yeah,
wasn't
it's all
just
set.
inserted
Actually, I think it's
into it.
higher than that, but I talked to Dan. I'm not the expert here, but I try to from what I can tell, I don't think will be as much as what it would cost, based on the work that I'm trying to do on the front end. And
Yeah,
our request will be, my main goal is to get a functional set of page design so that, like, how do I explain this? So that, a calendar post or a news article that's set up one time, and Sudden Valley staff with the photos that we get will be able to make those changes so that a developer's not implementing all this copy, all this content. We're going to give them strict restrictions on how the content should be laid out, how it works, what the styles are for all the typography, what the image sizes are, etc. So that way staff can go in and just fill the stuff out, and it's not taking $150 $250 an hour for someone to
yeah.
bill us that.
It's free because Josh is doing it.
Well, I mean, staff would be filling
Yes, I
it
know,
out,
but you're doing the legwork ahead of time to prep
Yeah.
it. So
No,
that it
I'm
won't
sorry.
take as
I
much
just want
time.
to, I just want
Liz,
to say,
I know,
I'm sorry.
you're going to
said
say
that earlier.
something, Liz.
Well,
No,
no,
it's
I'm just
all
saying
right,
I was
Liz.
snippy earlier. I apologize. It's just Josh is doing so much work that our budget for this is going to be, a tenth of what it would have been. So, I mean, our cost for doing this if we'd hired somebody else. So I'm sorry if I was snippy earlier.
No,
I
you're fine.
apologize.
Let's just get it done before we start celebrating, because there's still a lot
Yeah,
of work to
that's
do.
true.
It's kind of overwhelming, but
Yeah. So the second question I have, and this is the one I wanted to ask before. So a lot of the members, I, posted about our communications because a lot of people have questions and about the website and all that stuff. And I apologize. I thought the meeting was going to be a continuation of our last meeting about the website. So I made a blurb, but I did tell them that, that they are more than welcome to email you guys, because I didn't realize we had a communication email as well, to give their feedbacks and suggestions on the website, because it is their chance to have their voice heard in their hiccups answer, and to let them know that we are all working on this together. But if we don't get feedback or suggestions or advice, and then we, 5 of us, are making decisions based on that, then you can do that. You can send that. It's not going to be on the postal website, because not all of us are on that, and not all of us going to see that. So I hope you guys got the 2 emails, because I got a lot of people sending me personal messages about their suggestions, and I always direct them back to you and say, please send them to Josh or to Sandy, so that we as a committee can review it together, and we have a track of those requests, versus a post here, a post there, a PM here, PM there. I don't know if you guys got those, but I hope you do. And then if you, by chance, since I directed to you guys, will share it to us, because I would love to read them and keep track of that request too, because as we're working to revamp and redo a lot of these hiccups and headaches that we are doing the website, it would be nice to know what it is that people are experiencing.
So to be clear, using that social media prompt is only reaching a very tiny percentage of the Sudden Valley membership. So if we're really looking to ask people's opinions for the website, I think the only valid way is what is probably like an e-blast. And then to route them not just to Josh and Sandy, maybe to the committee as a whole, because then they're going to get swamped with work, and they're already working.
I hear you, Colleen.
So I'm just saying, I think it's nice to get, that there's such a limited amount of people on social media that we're reaching. If your true intention is to actually get input from the membership at large, then we're going to want to look at what reaches the most people and what method reaches the most people. If we want to just put out a prompt of hey, there's this website coming up. If you have any things on the current website that or whatever, just put out something if you want to send your opinions. And then we need to decide where that will go. But we're not going to reach very many people. And it's going to be the same group of people on social media, just using that limited platform if we want to. So
yeah, I'm sorry, Josh. That
No,
wasn't my intention to do it. The original post was just to tell people, hey, we're going to be having a communication meeting. These are the agenda what we're going to talk about. when one of the members respond to and ask a question, that was when I'd redirect them to please send an email to the board of director. It wasn't like, hey, I need your feedback or all this stuff. It wasn't meant to be used like that. And I understand that social media is not the venue. We have a lot of people who don't use emails and don't use Passer, but you got to start somewhere. And if we're doing this YouTube video, that's why I wanted to say, please, if you have any opinion or any hiccups with the email or the website, send it to us. Now that I know we have a communication email list, then that's how you're going to tackle these issues. You know, posting it on your complaints or your whatever, well, on social, it's not going to fix the issue. That's
Hey,
my bottom line.
Trang, here, let me just kind of put a little, yeah. So when we're talking about the website, if we ask people to, hey, give us your issues with the current website's going to be gone. It's going to be completely different. This is going to be a different user interface. It's going to be a different flow. It's going to be a world of difference in how this operates and works. If you do have someone that, you know, is saying something like, hey, I wish this was on the website or whatever, take note of that. Ask them to email us. We don't want to, and please, for whoever's watching, do not take this the wrong way. We don't want too many cooks in the kitchen at this point. Right now, this is our committee's job to facilitate this project for the board. Last year, we talked with staff, we talked with our committee members in getting some pain points of the website. And so, you know, we have quite a bit of input there. So if you do see people's even if you're like on social media, oh, I hate how this website's doing this, ask them, like, say, hey, what's the issue that you have? And maybe, you know, that's something that we've already thought about, or maybe it is something that we can implement on the new site and how that operates. And you know, when we do get to a point of development, we're going to have a staging site where we can preview how it operates. And, you know, maybe we can select some people or send out an e-blast and say, hey, test this out. Let us know what you think. You know, I do have the fear of getting inundated with a lot of requests, but at the same time, I don't think a lot of people are going to email stuff about the website unless they are keen, you know, tuned in. I think a lot of the people that follow Sun Valley politics, that want to get bylaws and, you know, the minutes that are big and popular. By the way, I do have minutes for us. I did not put them on this agenda, but next agenda we'll take care of them because this committee usually keeps track of the minutes pretty good. Because, you know, this committee is awesome. You guys are great. But so we'll do that next time. But, you know, at this point, we're just trying to make sure that it's clear for staff and for us to navigate this site and while it's being built. And then I think we'll have opportunities to get some feedback. And again, if you see anything, you hear anyone talk about something that's a pain point for them, just ask them to email in at this point, if that's okay. Colleen?
I just wanted to say that, you know, maybe instead of asking for a pull of information, if we push information, like, let's share what are the things that we're asking for? What have we worked on? Because not everyone's tuning in and watching these meetings or reading minutes. We can share, like, okay, we want to make the front page. You're going to be able to access this, this, and this. Our goals are this, this, and this, so that for ease of this, right? So rather than asking for a pull of wants, we can say, this is what we are working on and what we perceive to be resident friendly, resident centered web design.
That's
right?
Brilliant. I love it. Do you want to help me put that together? Uh-oh.
I think she's trying to meet you. No. Just-
She's bailing out.
I think you
You're
got your
muted.
answer, Josh.
You're still muted. Colleen, you're muted. So Josh and Colleen, to get to your point, yes, I'm not saying invite the whole community to put input. It's just people just
I'm
want,
not saying you're saying that
No,
either, Trang.
and I know that, but the website, I understand, is not the same website, but what they experience with that website can translate to what they could experience in the new website. So the idea of learning from that, maybe we like, oh, okay, well, maybe we can do something a little different to make sure that this website doesn't lead to the same hiccup. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying I understand that it's a total different whatever platform, you're using words that
Yeah.
I don't even know, as a,
No, you're
but
fine.
it's the concept. It's like, okay, everyone's gonna have the same kind of like, if I go into this page and I want to find this information, and this is what I'm encountering, is what the feedback is. It's like what I'm encountering. So how can the new process be different, and how would that help me? That's the feedback that I think most of the ones, at least the ones I've seen, have said. They're not gonna say, oh, if I were doing something different, I would do something different. No, they're just saying, this is what happens when I use this interface. And this is what should not happen, you know? So it's more of like, because I don't go to every single thing and use every aspect of that website. So I don't know what everyone is encountering. I only know what I encounter. And so this person or these people know what they encounter, or what their issue is when they log on. So as we're working on revamping it, we should be able to like, okay, I hear you, I read it, we're working on it.
So again,
how I really would.
rather than like all, like he's giving you a route to push that, right? But also so this is the big problem with, we are the communications committee, and I think everyone is starving for information, like from the board or whatever. So we can provide like a synopsis of, okay, here's our brainstorm session, which we've already had. We've talked a lot about like front page. We want to be able to get this form. We should be able to. So whenever Josh makes those things, we can make a synopsis of, okay, here's what our scratch pages look like, and here's why they're going to be resident centered and easy for you to use. So we're not asking so much for like answering individual questions. People are going to get so much more from like, here's what we're planning for you, and here's what, you know, and then I just feel like we can do a push rather than a pull of information is all it's, and that will reach so many more people, and then you can have the individual complaints go someplace.
I think that's all. I think that's a great idea. I'll help put that together, and we can share some goals and, you know, what some of these features will be. And yeah, I think that's a wonderful idea. That's all I have on that, I think. You guys have worn me out with your arguing. No, I'm just kidding.
Pauline, your hand's still up.
You're gonna have to make everyone egg rolls now, Trang.
I told you, I am now an expert.
So
are
can
we
we
back
get
onto-
staff to bids? Like, Josh, my concern is with this interruption, can we keep you on the committee even if you're not on the board? Like, whatever happens, my concern is the work you're doing is crucial to so many things that are happening with communications, the website, I mean, so many things we're doing. And so I just want to have in place some way that like we're not going to have interruption should there be a change of position on the board. Can we keep you on the communications committee? Like what, and can we keep you as a
I don't know if that's fair to ask.
We'll
that
be
question.
yeah, I don't want to talk
I mean,
about this
you're
anymore. I'm gonna
putting
start
scenarios I
crying.
haven't
But
expressed.
No, I'm
you
just
know-
saying if something happens, I just want to make sure that he is still involved and
He's
that
still a
there's no
resident. He's still a
interruption.
volunteer. I don't see.
yeah, I
any
mean
issue.
this, you know, the election or whatever, the SGM, I mean, it sounds like it'll happen, but that's a couple months. I'm gonna be done with this stuff before then. And you know, I already told John that, you know, we're gonna meet on it soon. But I'm gonna present what I have to you guys as soon as I'm done with it. And then we can go through it and make any changes because I need your input on how things are. And then we'll take it from there before I'm banished from the
I don't think you're
Sudden
being
Valley
banished,
area.
John. Oh, Josh.
it's
And
just
you
be-
would go anyway if you were banished. This is a volunteer committee. It's not. It's a volunteer committee run by volunteers.
I'm going to take a breath and I'm just going to enjoy life right now. How about
should.
that? All right. That's awesome. Egg rolls. Sandy's a vegan. All kinds of new stuff going on tonight.
So are we down to the last part of our agenda?
I think I think we're at, unless anyone has anything else, we'll call community comments, questions, if there's anyone that wants to join us for egg rolls.
Yeah, there's a few attendees here, 4 people. So if anybody wants to jump in, we can add you to the meeting. Just use raise hand in Zoom.
Not everyone at once. I know some of those names out there. Hope everyone's doing awesome.
The most we ever had attend our meeting, so I think my post kind of helped.
Yeah. Everyone came here for the website and they're like, well, they're not even talking about it. What is that? What kind
We
of
did
communication
talk
is
about
that?
it. I sneaked it in. We talked about it. We talked a lot about it.
I guess we have no takers.
Well, thank you
And-
all for joining the committee in the meeting, because it means that you are interested in what we're doing, which is always nice to know.
I will say, I know you guys sometimes ask what to share and stuff. So just keep an eye on Southern Valley's website and the Facebook page. And if you see some posts that you think that needs to get dispersed out, please share them with your, on your Facebook pages that you're on, or next door, or wherever you're hanging out. And the more that you guys can do that, the better, because then we'll have more chances of people seeing that information, such as like the street sweeping things up there now. Clean Green is Saturday. For those of you who do not have a vehicle to do that, ask your neighbor. I do know that they are working on Firewise. Don't quote me on that, but I do think we'll have that pretty soon for those of, the people that don't want to put mulch in the back of their Honda Fits or anything. So yeah, I think things are pretty cool right now. If no one has anything else, can we get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Unless
to
you guys just want to
adjourn.
hang out.
Nobody wants to go home.
I got to go back to work. All right.